Okay, we're looking at some factorising examples here. We're going to start with question 1, remembering our factorising priority. First thing I'm checking for is a common factor. So what appears in both of the terms that are in this expression here? I can see that I've got an A in both terms. That's the only thing that's common. So I'm going to pull that outside my bracket. To work out what goes inside my bracket, I'm dividing each of the terms by A. So A times what would give me A squared? Well, A times A would give me A squared. A times what would give me 7A? A times a positive 7. When I've finished, I'm checking what's inside my bracket. Are there any other things I could factorise? Is there a difference of two squares or a trinomial? In this case, no. So I'm done. Number 2, I'm checking again for a common factor. I can see I've got a B in both of them, so that's going to feature somewhere. But I'm also going to look at my numbers and see what times table do they both occur in. And it's 3. So 3B is going to be my common factor here. And when I'm working out what goes inside the bracket, I'm saying 3B times what gives me 9BY. Think of the numbers first. 3 times what gives me 9? It's going to be 3. Well, I've already got my B, so 3B times 3 would be 9B. I've also got to multiply by Y, so it's 3Y. Again, look at the numbers first. 3 times 2 would give me 6. I've already got my B, so I don't need to put that in. 3B times 2 would give me 6B. Remember to double check once you've done it. Even if you're not writing out the check, you should be doing it in your head, always. Number 3, I'm going to do down here so I have a bit more room. When I look there, I see I've got x squared here and I've got 81 here. No numbers in this term and no x's in this term. There's nothing in common, so it must be a different type of factorising. X squared is a squared term, 81 is a square number, and I've got a minus in the middle, so it's a difference of two squares. Remember the rules for the difference of two squares. We did this proof in class. So you need to square root each term in turn. X squared is x times x, and 81 is 9 times 9. And a difference of two squares, we have one plus and one minus. Okay, let's try a couple more. A squared plus 4a plus 4. Is there a common factor? Well, I can see there's an a here and an a here, but there's not one here. So it's not common to everything. So I'm not going to take it out. There's a 4 here and a 4 here, but there's not one here. So it's not common to the whole expression. Difference of two squares? Well, we've only got adds, so no. It's a trinomial. There are 3 terms. First one's squared. So the rules for this are, as we know, we're trying to find factors of 4, and the same pair of factors must add to give us the 4 in the middle. There's nothing in front of our a squared, so we don't need to concern ourselves with that. It's going to be a times a. Factors of 4 are 1 times 4 or 2 times 2. If we want them to add together to give us the plus 4, it's going to be a positive 2 and a positive 2. So I just pop them in my brackets like so. Now remember, we're finished now, that we've answered the question. But if you're not sure, you're doing a check and you're multiplying out. So you're taking the a, multiplying by both terms in the second bracket. A times a is a squared, a times 2 is 2a. Then you're taking the 2 and you're multiplying it by both terms in the second bracket. So plus 2a plus 4. If I tidy that up, I've got a squared plus 4a plus 4. and that's what I started with, so I know that I've done the right thing. Okay, I'm going to put another couple up, so x squared plus x minus 6. You might want to pause the video for a second, try the question yourself, and then restart it and compare your answer to mine. Okay, so I'm looking at it, I can see there's no common factor, there's no difference of two squares, there are three terms starting with a squared, it's a trinomial. There's no number in front of x squared, so I know I'm just going to have an x times an x. The factors are of negative 6, so 1, 6, 2 and 3. I know that one of those needs to be negative, but they need to add to give me a positive 1. So that's going to be minus 2 plus 3. Negative 2 times positive 3 would give me a negative 6. Negative 2 plus 3 would give me a positive 1, which is my central term. So I'll pop these in my brackets and I get x minus 2, x plus 3. Okay, number 6. Again, x squared minus 2x minus 8. You want to try it yourself, then come back and compare your answer to mine. Okay, again I can see there's no common factor, no difference of two squares. It's a trinomial. We've no coefficient, the coefficient of x squared is 1, so it's just x times x. I need to find numbers that multiply to give me negative 8. And they need to add to give me negative 2. For them to give me negative 8, when they multiply, one of them must be negative, one of them must be positive. And when they add, they need to give me negative 2. So it's going to be positive 2 times negative 4 gives me negative 8. Positive 2 take away 4 gives me minus 2. So I'm going to pop those in my brackets, and I have x plus 2, x minus 4. So we've covered common factor, difference of two squares and a trinomial. I've got a second video that will give you some questions where there may be a mix of these things. Hope it helps. Okay, number 4, I'm looking for a common factor. I've got an a here and an a here. Could that be common? There's no a here, so it's not common to all the terms, so I'm not taking that out. Also there's a 4 here and a 4 here, but it's not common across all three, so I'm not taking that out either. A difference of two squares, well there's more than two things and there's no minus sign, so it's not going to be that. It's a trinomial. There are three terms. The first one is a squared term. So we recognise this as a difference of two squares, as a trinomial rather. And what we need to do here is we need to find factors of 4, so numbers that multiply together to give me 4. I've got 1 times 4 or 2 times 2. And I need to choose the set of factors that will add to give me the coefficient of my a, which in this case is a positive 4. So it's going to be 2 and 2. So inside my brackets, I'm going to go a times a, because these are the factors of my first term, plus 2, plus 2. And remember, if you wanted to check this one, you would have to do multiplying out the brackets. So I take the a first and multiply by both terms in the second bracket. So a times a is a squared, a times 2 is 2a. And then take the positive 2 and multiply by both terms in the second bracket. 2 times a is 2a, 2 times 2 is 4. And I end up with a squared plus 4a plus 4, which is what I started with. So I know I've done the right thing. Remember, if you're doing the check, to keep it separate from your other work. Okay, x squared minus 2x minus 8. there's no common factor, it's not a difference of two squares, it's a trinomial. So again, I'm looking for factors that multiply to give me negative 8 and add together to give me negative 2. So for 8, I'm going to put down 1 and 8, 2 and 4. But in order to get a negative 8, one of these needs to be positive and the other needs to be negative. I need to be able to add them to give me negative 2. And I can see from here, the 1 and the 8 are not ever going to give me negative 2. But if I've got positive 2 and a negative 4, I can end up with negative 2. And I'll just double check. If I multiply positive 2 by negative 4, yes, I get negative 8. So my brackets are going to be x plus 2 and x minus 4.